do that,
The
which
spine?
is the spine,
Oh, yeah.
which is going to start here, just slowly, because as I say, the base retains the heat, so
Yeah,
the
it
base
does,
is
really.
nice and hot.
How long would you say health heat is compared to like hot stone?
I've never used hot stones.
Oh, really?
I've never even received a hot stone massage, so
It seems to be holding it's holding the heat, to me, longer than the stone,
oh,
much longer.
so what I like to do is you can do effleurage, pushing away with the side, and then pulling towards you with the bevel. So I'm going to start with a little effleurage, and then I can pull towards. And a lot of times I like to just do the pulling towards, like this. The curve lets you curve around the shoulder very easily. And you can also curve around, as we're doing here. I'm going to switch to the other side so we can see. Here I'm following the curve and using the side and the heat of it, and then switching so the bevel finishes up with the bevel. And when I get up to the edge of the skull, I can feel the edge of the skull, and I may want to roll it a little bit. I can also knead with it a little bit. And of course what I like to do is to check with my thumb where there's areas that are going to need more attention. But generally, you'll start out letting the Thumbby do the hard work of relaxing everything so that you've saved your thumb points for actually getting down where your skill is needed. And a lot of this preliminary loosening up, you don't need a lot of skill, but it can tire out your thumbs while you're doing it. So you feel like you're a little tight over here, not too bad. So again, I can do in this case I'm using more of the edge, the bevel and the edge, so that I'm getting a broad pressure across there. And when I feel knots where I might want to dig in, I'll use the point. And what I'm doing here is I'm really putting the pressure very close to the point, but I kind of roll onto the point. It's like I'm using the side, and then I roll onto the point. So it would be feeling more like coming in with my thumb. Well, actually, I should probably ask you how it feels. Does it feel hand-like?
It does. It does. I like the rolling movement.
This. So, on the shoulder along here is a good place to do rolling. Because it's a different feel.
It is a different. Actually, the rolling makes me less guarded.
Ah.
Or less resistive, you know.
Mm-hmm. When you're using oil, it's easy for the Thumbby to slide. So if I'm working near the spine, I'll use my fingertips as my guide on the opposite hand. And then I can work right up by the spine. In this case, I'm using the tip to give a good concentrated pressure. And as you get accustomed to using the Thumbby, you'll be able to tell where you are when you come up to a bone, you'll be able to feel it through the Thumbby. So you can work very close to the bones.
That felt good.
Oh, good. And again, you can use the bevel to roll along the spine. I had talked about, did someone mention that they liked friction, cross-fiber friction?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is better with less oil, so I'm going to sort of dry your now that we got you all nice and...
Yep.
All right. Ha-ha! But I have two Thumbies, and the second one does not have so much oil on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out where the spine is, and I'm going to put this as close to the spine as I can, and I'm going to use the edge. I'm going to tip my wrist so that I'm really using the edge, and I'm going to do a cross fiber stretch. How does that feel with the heat?
Good, really good.
This is not something you can do with your hands.
No, this actually feels less pokey than with the hands.
Yeah, that's feeling a bit looser here. Again, you can use this edge. It's like, well, I don't know, would you call this an effleurage? It is a broad.
It's a deep, yeah, it is an effleurage. It's a deep kind of a stripping effleurage.
Yeah, yeah.
A deep tissue. It's a deep tissue effleurage.
Yeah. So for muscle stripping, again, use guide where you are. You can do it with the point. Just move right along. I was trained to do muscle stripping with my thumbs. I don't use my elbows. I don't like elbows used on me because they're too hard. So the Thumbby is a perfect compromise because it gives you that concentration, but it's not as hard as an elbow. So again, this will be your, and I'm doing, this one I'm doing like perpendicular to the spine, but if you want, you can also do it at an angle so you're a little more concentrated on the erector spinae. And what I've got right now is I'm pressing against my index finger, and my index finger is against the spine. So I've got a guide for how far away from the spine to be.
Are we getting new Thumbies or the
We
same
will,
one?
we will.
Because that one you just used was still hot.
It's still warm. See, I happen to like them as hot as we can have. This is still warm. It's still going to be beneficial. But I will tend to switch them out pretty often because I think that the extra heat. And again, generally, if you can hold it in your hand, it's going to be okay for your client.
How do you heat them in your practice?
I use a crock pot.
Okay.
And I turn it on high till I get it boiling, then I turn it to low, and I take the lid off, and that means that it's still plenty hot, but it's not quite boiling hot.
Okay.
You know, the longer it's in, the hotter it gets, and the hotter it stays, and the longer you have to let it cool. Place your wrist on the small of your back, and that's going to raise up her scapula. And I'm going to raise it up further with here. Just relax. That's good. Okay, so we're going to use the edge like a wedge, and we're going to roll it along the edge of the scapula. And sometimes there's that dramatic moment when suddenly the things that were tight relax and the scapula raises up. Maybe we'll have that. That would be great. So I'm just making sure she's loose. And I usually start down here at the point. Is this okay? Not too
Yeah,
hot?
no, it feels good.
Okay. And I'm just going to roll over it again to help things loosen up. Having the heat does a lot of the work for you. As I say, I want to save your thumbs for their trained abilities, their trained duties, and just let the heat and the Thumbby, you know, the heat and the shape of the Thumbby do a lot of that preliminary stuff. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to use this like a wedge and roll. And I'll kind of bounce it a little bit along here. Sometimes I'll come up to it like this. See how it is? Now you feel pretty tight right up here.
Yeah, it's pretty adhered. Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how you are down on this side.
Welcome to my scap stuckness.
There. Well, we're actually getting it raising up a little bit on this side. Let's see. Switch hands. But just relax. There, that's good. There. Okay. So I've got this already up a little bit, and now there we go. So we have the heat on the side of the Thumbby, on the bevel actually, being able to work on that upper part, and then we have the heat on the base underneath. since you're tight here, I'm just going to kind of rock onto the real tight spot. And I'm using that edge, concentrating the force on there. There we go. That's good. If you are using the side and you get to a place where there isn't as much oil, it will roll. You can still be applying pressure. You know, you're sliding along, and then you get to a place that's dry, and you can just let the thing roll and still be transferring the heat. So this is how you transfer heat when you don't have oil. You can do a similar thing with the bevel, coming down, not so much with the edge, which is, you know, really concentrated, but doing this, going outwards to the sides.
That feels good.
Yeah. Instead of doing this sort of thing up the sides, which, you know, to massage, you can use the Thumbby. So be able to stretch here on the sides, and we're using the bevel and the heat. You're not terribly oiled, so there's a little bit of sticking. But I think I had mentioned earlier, if we were massaging a personally sensitive area of the body, you know, you've massaged them, you know where their areas are. You can use the heat.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, I think we've got one that's still a bit hotter. Because again, yeah, this one's perfect. Okay. So, we'll just start here.
That feels good. Boy, yeah, you can feel the heat.
And
nice
also,
on the sacrum.
Huh?
It's nice on the sacrum.
Yeah. This is also something that you're learning about a new thing. This is not, well, we're in, I think, 56 schools so far. This counts 57. But this is something that gives you
An edge.
an edge. You have a modality that other people don't have. You have something that's hot, but it feels very comfortable. It's more comfortable, I think, than stones.
I really like it on the sacrum, Susan.
Okay.
I mean, I can feel it loosening the ligaments.
Ah,
Yeah, it's real effective there.
okay.
Real effective. That feels great.
All right. So now I'm going to switch and use the point.
It is really awesome on the sacrum. It's so noticeable.
Good.
Yeah, it's just like it really effective for the ligaments too. I mean, it feels good everywhere, but it's noticeably different when you come back.
All right. And of course, if somebody is tight, you can give them shaking, either, with any surface that feels good. Vibration.